So you're ready to get yourself an everyday carry camera to capture more of those amazing family memories and family moments, but you're just not sure what to get or even what to be looking for. Don't worry, I've got you covered with my top tips on what to look for when getting an everyday carry camera. Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a photographer and videographer, but more important than that, I am a father and a husband. I'm so glad that you're joining into the channel. Today, this video is something that I'm excited about because I love having an everyday carry camera. I love taking my camera with me everywhere and just capturing a ton of photos of my kids, of my family. And it's something that I think everyone should have a camera that they take with them to take photos of everyday family life. So I'm going to give you my top 5 tips and what to look for when looking for a camera to be used as a family camera. And these are the things that I used when I was looking for my everyday carry camera. I use the Fujifilm X100F. That's not the only camera out there. That's not even necessarily the best camera. It's what works best for me. But there are tons of cameras out there to look for. And so I'm going to give you 5 tips that I think should help you narrow down your search and specify what you want out of an everyday carry camera. If you're new here, I'm so glad that you're joining the channel. Please subscribe, like this video if it's something that you enjoy. And with that, let's get into it. So the first tip in everyday carry camera is you want something that is an appropriate size. Now, this may vary depending upon who you are. You may be someone who wants to have a big camera with you. For me, I don't. This is my Canon EOS R with a 50mm lens on it. This is something that I would use for professional work. This is not something I carry with me everywhere. This is, it's not the heaviest camera, but it's also not the lightest. And it's big, it's bulky. This isn't something that I would want to use for everyday carry camera. I've used this for my family photos. I've taken this with us on trips and it gives us great images, but it's just bulky. And the biggest thing, because it's bulky, is I end up not wanting to use it. I end up not wanting to take it with me. When you're thinking about an everyday carry camera, you want something that is easy to bring with you. Something that is easy to just slip in a pocket, slip in your backpack, something that is, to put around your neck. You want something that's small and lightweight. That's why I like the Fujifilm X100F. It's very small, very lightweight. It's very minimal. Sometimes people don't even notice that I have a camera when I've got this around my neck. And it's just easy to just throw on a strap, throw around my neck, throw in the truck, throw in my backpack, whatever. There's always space for it. And because of that, I'm always bringing it with me. The key to having an everyday carry camera is it's something that you carry every day. And a smaller, more compact camera definitely fits that bill. There are tons of small cameras out there. I love cameras that have a fixed lens for this reason, because again, that just makes the package smaller. This camera, while it, you can have the option to switch out a ton of different lenses, that also makes it a lot bigger. But when you have a camera that has a fixed lens like this, it's just easy to use, makes the decision-making process a lot easier, and keeps that size small. The next thing to look for is ease of use. You want a camera that is easy for you to use. Now, this may depend upon your skill level. For me, picking up the Fujifilm X100F, it didn't take me long to figure it out. This camera has manual tactile settings with, the aperture ring here, a shutter speed ring, an ISO ring. Like, these were all things that were easy for me to grasp because I am a photographer, because I've been working in photography for a while. They may not be the easiest thing to grasp for someone who's brand new to it. So you want to look for a camera that will be easy for you to use. Whether that means, the menu system and the navigation, is simple. Whether that means there's a lot of good auto features, whether that means it's just a simple package. You want to look for something that's easy to use for your skill set. When you're out taking photos of your kids, you're gonna have your hands full, right? Like, our toddlers are running around like crazy, and so having a camera that's just easy and simple to use is huge. If you're carrying around a camera that you don't know how to use, and you've got tons of other things going on, like your kid is running off in one direction, your baby is screaming, like, you're just not going to use that camera. You want something that is easy to understand, easy to use, and honestly, I would say has great auto features. Because, I went to the zoo with my kids today and I threw this camera on auto, everything but, aperture, and it's so nice to not have to worry about getting all of my settings right and just trusting that the camera is going to take good quality photos of my kids. All I have to do is just kind of keep up with them. So get a camera that's easy to use. And that might be a little bit hard to say because you're like, okay, if I pick it up, I don't know if it's actually easy to use or not. That just means do your research in advance. Look into what other people are saying about it. Watch some reviews, things like that. Next thing to look for is you want something that's going to take good quality images. Now, while the quality is not the most important thing in your camera, right, it should still be something that is important to you because no one wants crappy photos, right? Maybe you're not looking to post these photos on social media. Maybe you are, and that's totally fine. But even so, you want photos that look good. You want photos that you can print out, photos that you can hang on the wall, photos that will last for a while, and not look, crummy years from now. So I suggest making sure that you find a camera that has good quality images. A few things that will help determine whether a camera has good photo quality or not are going to be the sensor size, how many megapixels the camera has, and then the lens itself. So the larger the sensor, the better images you're going to get. Also, the better low light performance you're going to get. Again, the more megapixels, the more detail you're going to get. And the lens itself, if you have a good quality lens, that means you're going to have good quality images. So, something like the Fujifilm X100F, it's got a great sensor. It takes, I think, 24 maybe megapixels, somewhere in that 20 range, and has a fixed lens, which can go all the way down to 2.0 aperture. All of those things combined create some really good images. Same with this EOS R. It's got a full frame sensor. It's got multiple different lenses that you can throw on it, so you can pick a crappy lens or a good lens, and its megapixels are good. If you're looking at something like the Camp Snap camera, which is a fun little camera for kids to use, it's not going to have great image quality because it's got a really small sensor, it's got a really small lens, and I think it's only got like 12 megapixels, if that. So you want to look for something that has at least one or two of those good elements to it: sensor, megapixels, and lens. The next thing is you want something that's fun to use and inspires you to use it. If taking your camera out and using it feels like a chore, you're just not going to use it. But if it's something that's fun, if it's something that inspires you, if it's got some cool elements to it or maybe a cool design, then that's going to be something that intrigues you a little bit more, gets you excited about using it, and is just going to encourage you to continue using it. Again, I'm going back to the Fujifilm X100F, and while this is a phenomenal camera, it's not the only camera. I picked this one because I knew that it would inspire me to use it. I loved the tactile settings on it. I knew that would be fun for me as a photographer to kind of slow down and go back to the basics. Also, I love that you can create your own film presets in here and just create a ton of different looks to your images. So also, the camera itself looks just dope. So that's something that encourages me to use it as well. But I think if you're going to pick a camera, pick something that will be fun for you to use, fun for your family to use. It'll be, a cool and enjoyable experience. You don't want something that's going to be a burden or something you don't enjoy, because then you're just not going to take photos, or you're not going to want to take photos, and it's going to put a bad taste for photos in your mouth. Like, you just don't want that. So find something that is enjoyable and inspires you to actually take photos. I've said this time and time again. A lot of people like taking photos on their iPhone, and that's totally fine. I'm the kind of person who's not inspired by my iPhone, and so I never take photos on my iPhone. There is a truth to the things that inspire you will encourage you to actually use them. So jump into that, find something that inspires you, find a camera that's fun to use, and go with that. And the last thing to look for is price. While price should not be the main thing to look at, it definitely needs to be a factor in your decision-making process. There are cameras out there that are really, really cheap and still great cameras. And there are cameras out there that are really, really expensive and still great cameras. But you don't necessarily need the best or the most expensive, you can find one that fits your budget. There are cameras for literally every budget out there. And I think in today's day and age, like, while price needs to be something that you need to be thinking about, it should not be what stops you from getting a camera, because there are so many great cameras out there at so many great prices. Now, the one thing I will say is that if you think this is going to be something that you're really going to get into, if it's something that you really want to use, I would always encourage you to push your budget more, because the higher you push your budget, yes, you're going to get some better features, right? Like a camera like this, you're looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $1,400. And that's a pretty penny. But for me, knowing that I was spending that much on the camera, it did two things. One, it encourages me to use it, because it's like, if I'm going to spend that much on something, I need to actually use it. So that's another, push for me to use this camera. The other thing about it is I knew that it was an investment. I knew that I was spending more money than I necessarily wanted to, but I was spending money on something that I thought would pay off in the long run. And to me, it definitely has. Having good quality photos, having a camera that's been fun to use, enjoyable to use, and just, fun for our family has paid off. So while I would say you need to set a budget, I'd also say don't be scared to go above your budget. You can definitely find cameras below your budget, but in my mind, I think there's a little bit of wisdom in spending a little bit more on something that you'll get your value out of. So that's it. That's my top 5 tips when looking for an everyday carry camera. There are so many different options out there for cameras. You've got, the Fujifilm X100F. I'm looking right now into the Fujifilm XF1 and XF10. Those are 2 cameras that recently have popped up for me. I'm like, I kind of want to test those out and see how they are. Hopefully I can get my hands on those, give a little bit of a review. But even other than that, there's so many great cameras out there. Just keep searching, keep looking for it, narrow down your search, narrow down what it is that you want out of your camera. And hopefully these tips will help you figure out and help you find the camera that will become your everyday carry family camera. Again, if you like this video, please do like. It really does help. Subscribe if you're not already. And if you have a family camera already, let me know in the comments, what camera are you using? I would love to hear your thoughts on why you chose that camera. Hope to see you guys in the next video. I feel better, so much better now. Doc McStuffins. Anyone else have kids and their songs just get stuck in your head? I feel better, so much better now. Okay, let's start.